I think obviously it's a very good sign that we've seen Kate twice in recent weeks. First of all at Trooping the Colour and then at Wimbledon. So clearly she's a lot better, but she's clearly still undergoing treatment for cancer. And so she's got to listen to the doctor's advice, and they're probably telling her to take things easy. I think she will go up to Balmoral with William and their children, George, Charlotte, and Louis. I'm sure they'll want to spend some quality time with the King and with Queen Camilla and indeed with some of their cousins like Zara and Mike Tyndall and Beatrice and Eugenie and other people, other royals will come and go. But it is slightly worrying if these reports are true that William is going to take the children possibly to the Scilly Isles or to Cornwall, and she might not be able to go. And that goes to show that she's possibly not completely out of the woods yet, and she's still undergoing treatment. And she's very much having to pace herself and rest according to what the doctors tell her to do. So I think it's good news and slightly worrying news, but I'm sure that she's well on the way to recovery, and she will do what the doctors tell her. Yeah, we've seen William and Kate quite often travel economy and with their children, and I think they're very down to earth in that sense. Rather in stark contrast to Harry and Meghan, who tend to take private jets at the drop of a hat. So it is nice when you see them mixing with members of the public and going economy. If they do go to Tresco on the Scilly Isles, which of course part of the Duchy of Cornwall, which William of course now owns, which does help if you own the place that you're going to on holiday. So you've either got to get there by ferry or by air, and that's a bit of a crossing over there, quite a few hours to get there on the ferry, but I think they'll probably fly. And they have really relaxed holidays there. I mean, it's the sort of place that you can't get there very easily, and it's not terribly crowded, and they can really get away from everyone else. And they can find remote beaches and go fishing and go beach combing, and they can have a really relaxing time there, and they go cycling. And I think that's why they like it so much, because it means they can have a sort of bucket and spade holiday, if you like, a really relaxed normal holiday like normal families, but there aren't too many prying eyes around. And it's similar to when they're up staying at Amnon Hall in Norfolk, where they can go to Holcombe Beach and other beaches which they know, and there aren't that many people about. So I think they'll really enjoy that. Yeah, I think if William does go on holiday with the children without Kate, then that shows that obviously she's still got a fair way to go. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't actually expecting to see her this summer, and I was quite surprised that she went to Trooping the Colour. I think it would have looked bad if she hadn't gone to Trooping the Colour, but she had gone to Wimbledon, and that had gone down as an official engagement. People might have said, "Oh, it's all right. She's well enough to go to the tennis." But I think the fact that she went to Trooping as well indicates that she is clearly on the mend, and hopefully she'll be back in action in a month or so in the autumn. We can expect to see her start to gradually, slowly do some public engagements. But as I said earlier, it'll totally depend on the medical advice. It will depend on the doctors. And if they tell her that she's not ready yet, she won't be. It's just the same with the King. It's been announced that he's going to Australia and Samoa in October, but he's not going to New Zealand. So the doctors very much advised him that would have been too much. So clearly they're monitoring this, and they're doing it very slowly with both of them, and making sure that they're not not doing too much too soon, which will inhibit their recovery. I'm sure William was very shocked when Kate was first diagnosed with cancer, because anyone of that age to be diagnosed is clearly a tremendous shock and a great worry. And I'm sure that I think it actually came in the actual diagnosis might have come on the day when he pulled out of going to a memorial service for the late King Constantine of Greece. And at the time, we weren't told the reason, but later on it was revealed that he probably learnt that day. At the time, he cited personal reasons, and obviously he didn't feel in the mood to go to that, which is quite understandable. And he was looking after Kate, but I think Kate has got a sort of inner core of steel. She's quite a sort of steely character, and I think she's reminds me a little bit of the late Prince Philip in that sense. I think she's got a sort of inner strength, and I think she's very much pulled on those reserves that she's got and called on them. And I think that of the two, she's probably the stronger character. And even though she's the one who's got the illness, I think in many ways she will be the sort of stronger of the two in getting through it. And mainly, of course, she wants to be strong for her children. She wants them to know that she's going to be okay, as she said in her televised broadcast at the time that when she announced she had cancer. And I'm sure that's uppermost in her mind, that if she shows that she's strong enough to cope with it, then that will spread to William and indeed to the children. Well, obviously, they're slightly different characters because obviously the king's only been on the throne for less than 2 years, and he feels a great deal of responsibility to carrying out his duties, having waited all this time for the top job. I mean, for example, he's still head of state in 14 other countries, and the likes of Jamaica and New Zealand, if they don't see him, if he never visits because he's not well enough, you can imagine that certain Republican elements in these countries are going to start querying why have they got a monarchy, So I think he's very aware of that, and I think he's also obviously wants to very much fulfil his duties. He made a fantastic start when he had to take over from his mother. He seemed to sort of take to it like a duck to water and sort of stamp his authority on it. And then, of course, we had this terrible news that he's not well. So I think he's got that great sense of responsibility that he would be in danger of rushing back to work too quickly if the doctors didn't restrain him. With Kate, I think obviously she will be sensible. She's also got a very close family around her, of course, her mother and father and her siblings, and she's very close to them, and she gets a great deal of support from them. And Carol Middleton, in particular, her mother, is extremely close to Prince George, and indeed the others, Louis and Charlotte. And in the background, she's very much supporting them. So I think with that support network around her, that's going to aid her recovery.